The warning lights flashed red across the command center as Captain Deho Kim stared at the massive shapes on his screen. 3 enormous ships, each the size of a small city, drifted toward Earth like wounded giants. Their hulls bore scars from weapons fire, and strange metal patches covered what looked like gaping holes. "Sir, they're not responding to our standard greeting signals," reported Lieutenant Johann Park from his communication station. His voice carried a mix of fear and excitement that Deho understood completely. First contact with aliens was supposed to be humanity's greatest moment, but these ships looked like they had barely survived a war. Deho adjusted his uniform and took a deep breath. 20 years in the Earth Defense Force had prepared him for many things, but not this. "Keep trying all frequencies. Use every language we have in our database." Minutes passed like hours. The alien ships continued their slow approach toward Earth's orbit, showing no signs of hostility but also no signs of communication. Then suddenly the speakers crackled to life. "Hello, humans of Earth." The voice was clearly artificial, probably a translation device, but behind it Deho could hear something else. Exhaustion, desperation, and hope all mixed together. We are the last of the Kaleth people. We seek sanctuary." The communication center fell silent. Deho felt his heart racing as he realized he was about to make history. "This is Captain Deho Kim of the Earth Defense Force. We hear you. Please tell us what you need." "Captain Kim," the voice replied, and now Deho could tell it belonged to a female. "I am Elder Unipark. Yes, I know your language names. We have studied your people while traveling to your world. We are refugees, Captain. Our home is gone. Our people are nearly extinct. We number only 10,000 souls across our 3 ships." Deho looked around the command center at his crew's shocked faces. 10,000 survivors of an entire civilization fit onto 3 ships. The tragedy of it hit him like a physical blow. "What happened to your people?" he asked gently. There was a long pause before Unipark answered. "We were destroyed, Captain Kim. Not by war or disease or natural disaster. We were destroyed because we grew too quickly, learned too much, became too advanced. The other species of the galaxy saw us as a threat and decided we should not exist." The words hung in the air like poison. Deho had read about genocide in human history books, but to hear it described so simply, so matter-of-factly, chilled him to the bone. "We have traveled for 3 years," Unipark continued. "We approached 17 different worlds, 17 different species. Each time we were turned away. Some said they had no room. Others said we were too different. Most simply said no and told us to leave their space immediately." Lieutenant Johann Park looked up from his station. "Sir, I'm getting massive energy readings from their ships. Their technology is incredible, but their life support systems are failing. They don't have much time." Deho nodded and opened a direct channel to Earth Command. "This is Captain Kim requesting immediate connection to Secretary General Minho Lee. Priority Alpha." Within minutes, the familiar voice of Earth's leader came through the speakers. "Captain Kim, I've been monitoring your communications. Are you certain these beings are telling the truth?" "Sir, their ships are falling apart. They're clearly running out of supplies. Whatever happened to them, they're genuine refugees." "How many did you say?" 10,000, sir. The last survivors of their entire species." There was silence from Earth Command for several long minutes. Deho could imagine the frantic discussions happening in government buildings around the world. This decision would change everything for humanity. Finally, Secretary General Minho Lee's voice returned, clear and strong. "Captain Kim, please relay the following message to Elder Unipark and her people." Deho opened the channel to the Kaleth ships. "Elder Park, I have Secretary General Minho Lee, the leader of Earth's government, with a message for you. People of Kaleth," Minho Lee's voice carried across space. "We have heard your story, and we are deeply sorry for your loss. Earth extends its hand to you in friendship and welcome. You are not just allowed here. You are invited. You are welcome to make Earth your new home for as long as you wish. We will help you repair your ships, tend to your sick, and find places for your people to live and work. No one should wander the galaxy alone when they could have a family here." The silence that followed seemed to last forever. Then Deho heard something he never expected to hear from an alien: crying. Soft, gentle sobbing came through the speakers as Unipark tried to compose herself. "Secretary General Lee," she finally managed to say, "in 3 years of travel and 17 requests for sanctuary, your people are the first to say yes, the first to offer help instead of fear. We do not know how to thank you." "You don't need to thank us," Minho Lee replied warmly. You just need to come home. Over the next few hours, Diho coordinated the most complex rescue operation in human history. The 3 Kaleth ships were slowly escorted to orbital stations around Earth. Medical teams prepared to treat alien biology they had never seen before. Engineers readied to repair technology they didn't understand. Diplomats prepared to welcome a people they had never met. But perhaps most importantly, ordinary humans around the world watched the news broadcasts and felt something they had never felt before. The pride of being part of a species that chose compassion over fear, welcome over rejection. As the first Kaleth shuttle prepared to dock with the International Space Station, Diho received a final message from Elder Una Park. Captain Kim, I must tell you something important. When word spreads through the galaxy that Earth has accepted us, you will face pressure to change your minds. The same coalition that destroyed our world will not be pleased that you have given us sanctuary. They may try to force you to turn us away. Diho smiled as he replied, Elder Park, with respect, they're welcome to try. But they should know something about humans first. We don't abandon our friends, ever. 3 hours later, the first Kaleth refugees stepped aboard the space station, beginning a new chapter not just for their species but for Earth itself. In choosing compassion over fear, humanity had declared its values to the galaxy. They would soon learn that not everyone approved of those values. 6 months had passed since the Kaleth ships arrived at Earth, and Dr. Jiwon Choi still felt amazed every time she walked through the integration center. Humans and aliens worked side by side, sharing knowledge and building friendships that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. The medical results are incredible, she told engineer Hyun-woo Jung as they walked past a laboratory where human doctors and Kaleth healers were examining new treatments together. Their nanobots can cure diseases we've been fighting for centuries. Cancer, heart disease, even paralysis, all treatable now. Hyun-woo nodded, his tablet showing the latest reports from the technology exchange program. And their quantum computers are helping us solve problems we never thought possible. Climate modeling, clean energy, space travel. Everything is advancing so fast it makes my head spin. The Kaleth had proven to be ideal refugees. They were grateful for Earth's welcome, eager to help their new neighbors and generous with sharing their advanced knowledge. What surprised everyone most was how similar they were to humans in many ways. They formed families, told stories, created art, and even had a sense of humor that translated well. Jiwon paused at a window overlooking the main integration hall. Below, human children played games with young Kaleth, their translator devices making their laughter sound the same in any language. Sometimes I have to remind myself that this isn't normal, she said. 6 months ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. And now we're family, Hyun-woo replied, watching a group of human and Kaleth engineers working together on a new type of solar panel. I've never seen cooperation like this between different human cultures, let alone different species. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by an urgent message from Ambassador So-min Han. All department heads to the main conference room immediately. Priority Alpha communication from the Galactic Assembly. Jiwon and Hyun-woo hurried to the conference room, where they found Ambassador So-min Han looking grim as she prepared to receive the transmission. Elder Una Park sat beside her, along with several other Kaleth leaders and human officials. This is it, Una Park said quietly. The coalition has found us. The main screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked like a cross between a lizard and a wolf. Its voice was deep and threatening as it spoke through a translation device. I am Commander Vrex of the Galactic Assembly. I address the primitive species of the planet you call Earth. You are harboring criminals and enemies of galactic peace. The creatures you call Kaleth are dangerous terrorists who threaten the stability of civilized space. Ambassador So-min Han stood up slowly, her diplomatic training keeping her voice calm and professional. Commander Vrex, I'm Ambassador So-min Han, representing the United Nations of Earth. We have thoroughly investigated the Kaleth people and found them to be peaceful refugees seeking sanctuary. We see no evidence of terrorism or criminal activity. The alien commander's eyes narrowed. Your investigation is meaningless. You are a backward species with no understanding of galactic politics. The Kaleth developed weapons of mass destruction and refused to submit to proper galactic authority. They were rightfully destroyed to protect innocent civilizations. Una Park stood up, her usually gentle voice sharp with anger. That is a lie, Commander. We never developed weapons. We developed medicine, clean energy, and technology to help suffering beings across the galaxy. That is why you destroyed us, because we offered hope to your slaves and your oppressed peoples. Silence, Vrex snarled. You will not speak lies to confuse these primitives. Humans of Earth, you will surrender the Kaleth criminals within 30 of your planetary rotations, or face the consequences. You do not want to make enemies of the Galactic Assembly. The threat hung in the air like a dark cloud. Jiwon felt her stomach drop as she realized what was happening. Earth was being bullied by alien civilizations, told to abandon people who had become their friends and neighbors. Ambassador Somin Han looked around the room at the faces of her colleagues, both human and Kaleth. She saw determination in their eyes, not fear. When she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of every human who had ever stood up to a bully. Commander Vrex, please record this message and share it with your Galactic Assembly. Earth has made its decision regarding the Kaleth people. They are not criminals or terrorists. They are our friends, our neighbors, and our family. We will not abandon them. If your assembly wants to remove them from Earth, you will have to go through us first. The alien commander's jaw dropped open in shock. You cannot be serious. You are a single planet with primitive technology. We represent 7 major civilizations with thousands of ships and weapons that could destroy your world in minutes. Perhaps, Somin Han replied calmly. But we are also a species that has never learned to back down when we know we're right. We've fought wars against impossible odds to protect what we believe in. We've stood up to tyrants and bullies throughout our history, and we've never ever abandoned people who needed our help. She paused and looked directly into the camera, knowing her words would be heard across the galaxy. You say you represent civilized space, Commander Vrex. But what kind of civilization destroys refugees for helping their oppressed? What kind of civilization threatens war against those who show mercy? If that is your definition of civilization, then Earth wants no part of it. The alien commander's face turned darker colors that probably indicated rage. You have made a terrible mistake, humans. The Galactic Assembly does not make empty threats. You have 30 days to reconsider, or we will come to collect the Kaleth ourselves. Do not force us to show you the difference between your primitive weapons and true galactic power. The transmission ended, leaving the conference room in tense silence. Finally, Hyun-Woo Jung spoke up. Well, that could have gone better. Despite the threat they had just received, several people in the room chuckled. Yuna Park looked around at the humans who had just risked their entire civilization to protect her people. Why, she asked simply. Why would you do this for us? Secretary General Min-ho Lee, who had been listening to the entire conversation, answered from Earth. His voice came through the speakers with quiet confidence. Because it's the right thing to do, Elder Park. Because we've learned that the measure of a civilization isn't its weapons or its technology. It's how it treats those who have nowhere else to turn. And because we meant what we said 6 months ago, you're family now. Jiwon looked out the window at the Integration Center, where humans and Kaleth continued working together, unaware that their peaceful cooperation had just made them targets of the most powerful military alliance in the galaxy. 30 days, she said quietly. 30 days, Ambassador Somin Han agreed. We'd better get ready. 25 days remained until the Galactic Assembly's deadline, and Earth had transformed into something that would have been unrecognizable just a month earlier. Defense Minister Tae-hyun Park stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed orbital defense station, watching construction crews work around the clock to complete the ring of protective platforms surrounding Earth. The Kaleth shields are incredible, reported Chief Engineer Sunmi Kwan, a brilliant Kaleth scientist who had become Taehyun's closest advisor. Combined with human engineering techniques, we've created defensive barriers stronger than anything either of our species could build alone. Taehyun nodded, though worry lines creased his forehead. Will it be enough? Intelligence reports suggest the Galactic Assembly is sending over 200 ships from 7 different civilizations. We have 30 human ships and 15 Kaleth vessels that are barely operational. Numbers aren't everything, Sunmi Kwan replied. Your species has something most galactic civilizations have forgotten, the willingness to fight for principles rather than just survival. Down on Earth, Dr. Jiwon Choi was making discoveries that amazed her every day. Her research into human and Kaleth psychology had revealed something remarkable. The 2 species were almost perfectly compatible in their social structures and emotional responses. It's incredible, she explained, to a joint human Kaleth committee meeting. Human pack bonding behavior matches almost exactly with Kaleth family protection instincts. When humans adopt someone into their group, they will defend them to the death. When Kaleth accept someone as family, they share everything they have, including their lives. Elder Una Park smiled at the news. This explains why our integration has been so successful. We are not just allies of convenience, we are becoming one people. The military preparations were equally impressive. Admiral Daeho Kim, recently promoted to lead the combined Earth-Kaleth Defense Force, watched as human pilots trained on Kaleth quantum drive fighters while Kaleth warriors learned human combat tactics. The quantum drives respond to thought patterns, explained Kaleth flight instructor Min Soo-yoon to a group of human pilots. Don't think about controlling the ship. Think about becoming the ship. Feel where you want to go rather than calculating it. Young pilot Ji-hoon Nam was the first human to master the technique. As his fighter danced through the asteroid field like a living creature, his instructor nodded approvingly. Perfect. You think like Kaleth pilot but fight like human warrior. This combination will surprise our enemies. Meanwhile, human Marine Sergeant Yoonji Lee was teaching Kaleth soldiers about Earth combat tactics. The key is unpredictability, she explained. Galactic warfare follows rules and protocols. Human warfare breaks those rules and makes up new ones during the fight. The integration wasn't just military. In the residential sections of the orbital stations, human and Kaleth families were forming bonds that went deeper than friendship. Children played together, adults shared meals, and elderly members of both species exchanged stories and wisdom. Secretary General Min-ho Lee called an emergency session of the United Nations, now expanded to include Kaleth representatives. His speech was broadcast not just to Earth, but transmitted throughout the galaxy by every communication array they could access. My fellow beings of Earth and beyond, he began. In 25 days, a large military force will arrive in our solar system. They come not to fight soldiers or conquer territory, but to take away 10,000 refugees who sought our protection. They demand we choose between the safety of our own world and the promise we made to people who had nowhere else to turn. He paused, looking around the assembly hall where humans and Kaleth sat side by side. We have made our choice. We choose to honor our promises. We choose to protect the innocent. We choose to stand up to bullies no matter how powerful they may be. This choice may cost us everything, but it is who we are. The response from the galaxy was swift and divided. While the major civilizations of the Galactic Assembly condemned Earth's defiance, dozens of smaller species sent secret messages of support. Many were oppressed peoples under the thumb of the Assembly's member nations. One message particularly moved Elder Una Park. It came from the Katal mining colonies, enslaved workers who had heard about Earth's protection of refugees. You give us hope, the message said. For the first time in generations, we believe freedom might be possible. As the deadline approached, an unexpected problem arose. Several human governments began expressing doubts about the decision to harbor the Kaleth. The European Federation, led by Chancellor Klaus Weber, demanded a reconsideration. We're talking about the potential destruction of human civilization, Weber argued during a heated video conference. Is protecting 10,000 aliens worth risking 8 billion human lives? It was Kaleth Elder Una Park who provided the answer, speaking not in her own language but in perfect Korean to show her respect for human culture. Chancellor Weber, if you decide our lives are not worth the risk, we will understand. We will take our ships and leave Earth's protection. But know this. If you sacrifice us to save yourselves, you will become the very thing you claim to oppose. You will become another civilization that abandons the innocent to save itself. The debate raged for hours, but in the end, humanity's better nature won. The vote was close, but the decision was clear. Earth would stand by its promises. With 15 days remaining, the combined human Kaleth fleet took position at the edge of the solar system. Admiral Daeho Kim's flagship, the newly christened Harmony, represented everything the Alliance had accomplished. Human determination strengthened by Kaleth technology, different species working as one. All ships report ready, announced Communications Officer Johan Park. Long-range sensors detect the Galactic Assembly fleet approaching. Estimated arrival in 14 days. Daeho looked around the bridge where human and Kaleth officers worked side by side. Then we wait, he said calmly. And when they arrive, we show them what happens when you threaten Earth's family. On Earth, ordinary citizens went about their daily lives, but with a new sense of purpose. Children attended school with their Kaleth classmates. Adults worked on joint projects that were advancing both civilizations. Everywhere the message was the same. Whatever happened in the coming battle, Earth had chosen to be better than its fears. In a small apartment in Seoul, a human grandmother named Kyung-soo Kim shared tea with her Kaleth neighbor, Jae-hyun Nam. They didn't speak the same language perfectly, but they understood each other completely. "Are you afraid?" Kyung-soo asked. Jae-hyun considered the question carefully. "I am afraid," he admitted, "but I am also grateful. For the first time since our world died, I have hope. If we must face danger to keep that hope, then we face it together." Outside their window, the lights of the orbital defense stations twinkled like new stars, symbols of two species that had found in each other what the galaxy had tried to deny them: a home, a family, and the courage to fight for both. The Galactic Assembly fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a swarm of metal locusts. 200 ships from 7 different civilizations formed a massive formation that stretched across space, their weapons gleaming in the distant light of the sun. Admiral Dae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Harmony, watching the enemy fleet on his main screen. Beside him, Kaleth Tactical Officer Sunmi Kwan quietly counted the enemy vessels. 60 Vrex battlecruisers, 40 Tellian destroyers, 35 Korthak fighters, plus support ships from 4 other species, she reported. "They outnumber us almost 5 to 1. "Numbers aren't everything," Dae-ho replied, echoing the words Sunmi had spoken to him weeks earlier. "Signal all ships. Hold position, but power up all weapons and shields. Let's see what they want to say before they start shooting." The communication came within minutes. Commander Vrex appeared on screen, his reptilian features twisted with arrogant confidence. "Primitive humans, your 30 days have expired. Surrender the Kaleth criminals immediately, and we will allow your pathetic world to continue existing." Admiral Dae-ho Kim stepped forward, his uniform bearing the newly created symbol of the Earth-Kaleth Alliance, 2 hands reaching toward the same star. "Commander Vrex, this is Admiral Dae-ho Kim of the Seoul Defense Force. The Kaleth people are under Earth's protection. If you want them, you'll have to take them." Vrex's jaw dropped open in disbelief. "You cannot be serious." "Look at our fleet. We have weapons that can crack planets. Your primitive ships cannot hope to match our firepower." "Maybe not," Dae-ho admitted calmly, "but we're going to try anyway." "Earth doesn't abandon its family." The alien commander's face darkened with rage. "Then you have chosen extinction. All ships attack formation. Destroy the human fleet and proceed to orbital bombardment of their planet." What happened next would be remembered throughout galactic history as the moment everything changed. The Galactic Assembly fleet advanced in perfect formation, following centuries-old battle protocols. Their ships moved in predictable patterns, their weapons targeted according to standard military doctrine. They expected to face a small, frightened fleet that would break and run at the first sign of real firepower. Instead, they encountered something that had never existed before in galactic warfare: 2 species fighting as one, using tactics that broke every rule in the book. "All human ships, scatter pattern 7, Admiral Dae-ho Kim ordered. "Kaleth vessels, quantum jump to position beta. Execute!" The Earth-Kaleth fleet exploded into motion. Human ships darted between asteroids and space debris like fighter planes, while Kaleth vessels used their quantum drives to appear and disappear in impossible locations. The carefully planned Galactic Assembly formation suddenly found itself surrounded by enemies that refused to fight fair. Pilot Jihoon Nam led a squadron of mixed human Kaleth fighters straight into the heart of the enemy fleet. His quantum drive fighter moved like a ghost, appearing behind enemy ships, firing and vanishing before they could respond. "This is impossible," came a panicked transmission from a Tellian destroyer. "The primitive ships are everywhere at once." On the Harmony, engineer Hyunwoo Jung coordinated cyber warfare attacks that the Galactic Assembly had never imagined possible. Human computer viruses designed with Kaleth quantum technology began infecting enemy systems. "Their ships are too automated," Hyunwoo reported with a grin. "They never learned to fight without computer assistance. Shutting down their navigation systems now." 12 enemy ships immediately began spinning out of control as their automated systems failed. Others fired on their own allies as their targeting computers received false information. The battle raged for 3 hours, with the Earth-Kaleth fleet using every dirty trick in the book. They hid behind moons, used gravity wells to slingshot around planets, and coordinated attacks that seemed to come from all directions at once. But the turning point came when Elder Unipark stepped onto the bridge of the Harmony and made a request that changed everything. Admiral Kim, I need to broadcast a message to the entire Galactic Assembly fleet. Not just their commanders, but every ship, every crew member, in every language they speak. Deho nodded without hesitation. Do it. Unipark's voice went out across all frequencies, translated simultaneously into dozens of alien languages. What she said next cracked the foundation of the galactic order itself. Warriors of the Galactic Assembly, I am Elder Unipark of the Kaleth. You have been told we are terrorists and criminals. You have been told we threatened galactic peace. I tell you now, these are lies. On screens throughout the enemy fleet, her image appeared. Not the monster their commanders had described, but a tired, gentle being who looked like she could be someone's grandmother. We were destroyed because we developed technology that could free enslaved peoples across the galaxy, medicine that could heal any disease, energy systems that could end poverty, communication devices that could unite oppressed peoples. We offered these gifts freely to anyone who needed them. The enemy fleet's attack began to falter as crews stopped to listen. How many of you serve masters who treat you as property? How many fight for civilizations that care nothing for your lives? How many have seen your own people suffer while your leaders grow fat and rich? On 37 ships across the Galactic Assembly fleet, crew members began to remember things they had tried to forget. The Tellian miners who were worked to death in radioactive mines, the Korthak soldiers who were sent to die in pointless wars, the Nexari workers who had never seen the wealth their labor created. Earth offered us something your leaders never have, the right to exist freely, to live without fear, to be part of a family that protects all its members. They asked for nothing in return except that we help build a better future together. The first ship to turn was a Tellian destroyer, whose crew had lost half their number to radiation poisoning, while their officers lived in luxury. The captain announced his surrender and requested permission to approach Earth under a flag of truce. Then another ship turned. And another. Within an hour, 43 vessels from the Galactic Assembly fleet had either surrendered or actively joined the Earth-Kaleth alliance. The remaining ships found themselves fighting not just humans and Kaleth, but their own former allies. Commander Vrex's desperate voice cut across all channels. This is mutiny. All loyal ships destroy the traitors. Destroy them all. But the damage was done. The united front of the Galactic Assembly had shattered into chaos. Old grievances exploded into open warfare as oppressed species turned on their oppressors. The space around Earth became a battlefield where the galaxy's downtrodden finally fought back against their masters. Admiral Deho Kim watched the chaos with a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. Signal all ships. Any vessel that wants to surrender will be accepted. Any ship that wants to leave can do so safely, but any ship that continues to threaten Earth or our allies will be destroyed. The battle ended not with a great explosion, but with a whimper. Commander Vrex's flagship limped away with the remnants of the Galactic Assembly fleet, leaving behind nearly 100 ships that had either been captured, destroyed, or had voluntarily joined Earth's cause. As the last enemy ship jumped to hyperspace, Communications Officer Johan Park turned to Admiral Deho Kim with an expression of amazement. Sir, we're receiving transmission requests from over 200 different star systems. They're all asking the same question. Is it true that Earth protects refugees and fights for freedom? Deho looked around the bridge at the mixed crew of humans and Kaleth who had just helped win the most important battle in galactic history. Tell them yes, he said quietly. Tell them Earth's door is always open to those who need protection. And tell them we're not done fighting for freedom, Elder. Unipark smiled as she watched the alien. Ships that had joined their cause moving into formation around Earth. You have done something incredible, she told. Deho, you have given the galaxy hope. No, Deho replied, watching the sun rise over Earth through the bridge windows. We've given the galaxy something better than hope. We've given them proof that things can change. The battle was over, but the revolution was just beginning. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, Ambassador Soman Han stood before the largest gathering of alien species in galactic history. The great assembly hall aboard the Orbital, City Haven buzzed with the sounds of 43 different languages being translated in real time by Kaleth quantum communication devices. representatives of the Sol Coalition, she began, her voice carrying to beings from across the galaxy. We gather today not as conquerors or rulers, but as equals who have chosen freedom over oppression, hope over fear, and unity over division. The audience included refugees from dozens of worlds, Tellian miners who had escaped their radioactive prisons, Korthak soldiers who had abandoned their endless wars, Nexari artists who had fled worlds where creativity was forbidden, and many others who had heard Earth's message and sought sanctuary in the Sol system. Dr. Ji-won Choi watched from the observation gallery, still amazed by how much had changed. The solar system now hosted 17 orbital cities, each designed to accommodate multiple species with different environmental needs. Her research had helped create the cultural integration programs that allowed beings from completely different worlds to live together in peace. The university now has students from 38 different species, she whispered to engineer Hyunwoo Jung, who sat beside her. Last month, a Vrex refugee and a human teenager won the science fair together with a project about interspecies communication. Hyunwoo nodded, consulting his tablet. And the technology exchange programs are producing innovations we never imagined. That new faster-than-light communication system, designed by a team that included humans, Kaleth, Tellians, and 3 other species working together. Down on the main floor, Secretary General Minho Lee, now titled Coordinator of the Sol Coalition, addressed the assembled representatives. His hair had gone gray in the past year, but his voice remained strong and determined. When the Kaleth first arrived at Earth, we made a simple choice: to help those who needed help. That choice led us here to this moment, where beings from across the galaxy have proven that cooperation is stronger than conquest, that diversity is stronger than uniformity. Elder Unipark, now bearing the title of Cultural Bridge Coordinator, rose to speak. In the past year, she had become one of the most respected voices in the coalition. Her words carried weight because everyone knew she had seen both the worst and best that the galaxy had to offer. Friends, she said, speaking in perfect universal basic, the new common language developed from a combination of human English and Kaleth quantum speech, I want to tell you about the children in Sector 7. She gestured to a holographic display showing a playground where young beings from a dozen different species played together, their differences in size, shape, and color meaning nothing to them. These children do not see aliens when they look at each other. They see friends, classmates, playmates. They are growing up in a galaxy where difference is celebrated, not feared. They are our future, and they give me hope that we are building something truly wonderful. The audience erupted in applause that sounded like music in dozens of different forms. Defense. Minister Taehyun Park presented the military report, though his title had recently been changed to Security Coordinator to reflect the coalition's peaceful intentions. The Sol Defense Force now includes vessels and personnel from 22 species. But more importantly, we have had no major conflicts in 8 months. Word is spreading that the Sol Coalition protects the innocent and opposes only those who threaten peace. Chief Engineer Sunmi Kwan, whose brilliant innovations had helped transform the solar system, announced the completion of Project Gateway, a massive space station that would serve as a diplomatic and trade hub for the entire galaxy. Gateway Station will be neutral territory, she explained, where any species can come to trade, learn, or seek help without fear of persecution. It represents everything the Sol Coalition stands for: openness, cooperation, and hope. But the most important moment came when Admiral Daeho Kim announced the coalition's next major initiative. Now commanding a fleet of over 300 ships from dozens of species, he had become a symbol of the coalition's strength and principles. My friends, he said, his voice serious but filled with determination, our scouts have identified 17 star systems where oppressed peoples are crying out for help. Slave colonies, prison worlds, planets where entire populations live in fear. We cannot free them all at once, but we can begin to offer them what Earth offered the Kaleth: sanctuary, protection, and the chance for a better life. The announcement created excited murmur throughout the hall. This was what many had been hoping for: the chance to take the coalition's message of freedom beyond the Sol system. The first expedition will launch in 3 months, Admiral Daeho Kim continued. It will be led jointly by myself and pilot Jihoon Nam, who has become our most skilled commander of mixed species squadrons. Our mission will not be conquest but liberation. We will offer transport to any who wish to leave, protection to any who choose to stay and fight for freedom, and support to any world that wants to join our coalition. Elder Unipark stood again, her elderly form somehow commanding the attention of the entire assembly. 1 year ago, the galaxy denied my people sanctuary. 17 species turned us away. Only Earth opened its doors. Today, we are no longer refugees begging for scraps of mercy. We are a family, 43 species strong, offering hope to any who need it. She paused, looking around the great hall at faces that represented dozens of worlds and countless different forms of life. The galaxy told us we were too different to coexist. They said peace between species was impossible. They claimed that strength came from domination and control. We have proven them wrong. The final speaker was an unexpected one. A young human girl named Minji Lim, only 12 years old, whose best friend was a Kaleth child named Dongwoo Kim. She had been chosen to represent the next generation of the Sol Coalition. Adults of the Coalition, she said, her young voice carrying clearly through the translation devices. My friend Dongwoo and I want to thank you for building a galaxy where we can grow up together. We want to promise you that we will continue your work. We will make the galaxy a place where no one is turned away, where no one is alone, and where everyone has a family. As the assembly concluded, people began to mingle in the Great Hall. Humans shared food with Kaleth families. Former enemy soldiers laughed with their new coalition allies. Children from different species chased each other in games that needed no translation. Later that evening, Admiral Daeho Kim and Elder Unipark stood together on the observation deck of Haven. Watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon, the planet below was still blue and green and beautiful, but it was no longer alone. Surrounding it were the lights of 17 orbital cities, each one home to thousands of beings from across the galaxy. Do you think we've done the right thing? Daeho asked. Sometimes I worry we've started something too big to control. Unipark smiled, her aged face peaceful in the soft light from Earth. A year ago, I was dying slowly on a refugee ship, watching my people fade away with no hope left. Tonight, Kaleth children are playing with human children, learning about art and science and friendship. If that is wrong, then I am happy to be wrong. She pointed to a small shuttle departing from one of the orbital cities. That ship carries medical supplies and teachers to the Retax system, where a plague has been killing children for decades. Next week, another ship will deliver food and construction equipment to rebuild the Helios colonies. This is what we've built. Not an empire, but a family that takes care of each other. Daeho nodded, watching the lights of the orbital cities twinkle like new stars around Earth. The old galactic order is crumbling. The coalition grows stronger every month, but I wonder what comes next. What comes next, Unipark replied softly, is that we keep our doors open. We keep protecting those who need protection. We keep proving that there is a better way to live among the stars. Far below them, on the surface of Earth, a grandmother named Kyung-soo Kim was tucking her granddaughter into bed. The little girl's best friend was a young Tellian who lived in the apartment next door, and they had spent the evening building a model spacecraft together. Grandmother, the child asked, why did the bad aliens want to hurt our friends? Kyung-soo Kim thought carefully before answering. Because they were afraid, little one. They had forgotten how to be kind. But we remembered and we taught them that being different doesn't mean being enemies. Will they ever try to hurt us again? Maybe, Kyung-soo Kim said honestly. But if they do, we'll be ready. And more importantly, we'll have friends to help us. Lots and lots of friends. Outside the window, the lights of the orbital cities shone like hope made visible. Proof that the galaxy had denied the Kaleth refugees sanctuary once upon a time. But Earth had offered refuge. And from that simple act of kindness, a new kind of civilization had been born. One where no one would ever have to wander the stars alone again. The galaxy had tried to teach them that different species could not coexist. Earth and its allies had proven them wrong. Now they would spread that lesson to every corner of space, one refugee, one friendship, one family at a time.